Well, guys, I want to let you know right off the bat that I really was rooting for this little guy. Was really wanted to really impress me, and it let me down. So it started out great. Had a great experience at first, and then things just went from bad to worse. So at this point in time, I cannot recommend the Mobula 7 HD from the experience that I had. And it's a shame because, this really is cutting edge technology, and I really appreciate what they're trying to do here. But at the same time, I wouldn't be doing my job correctly if I wasn't giving you guys an honest review. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And it may cost me my sponsorship, and hopefully it doesn't. I'm going to let you guys see exactly what happened and let you guys judge for yourself. Let me go ahead and roll the review video. I have heard from other reviewers that this particular flight controller has been having some issues running on higher voltages like 3-cell, that I personally cannot recommend the Mobula 7 HD. This Mobula 7 HD is brought to you in part by Banggood. Banggood has sent this out for me to review, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and open it up, see what you get in the box. Got the instruction manual here, nice and in color. As always, from Happy Model, they give you very good and clear instructions. So big plus on that. Nice and easy to read. Here we have a menu board for the OSD for the Caddx camera. You have a 3S LiPo battery, 300 milliamp, 30 or 60C. You have the Mobula 7 HD here, good size. Man, that's a chunky, that's a chunky whoop. I wouldn't even call it a whoop, it's so big. And then you get the bag of some spare parts, a screwdriver, some spare propellers. Interesting enough, you get this little converter from XT30, so you can run this on 2-cell LiPos if you want to run it on 2S instead of 3S. So it's nice to give you the converter cable in the box. Go ahead and take a look at this guy up close and personal. So you can see here, we definitely have some nice beefier motors, Happy Model. We have the 1102 9000 kV motors on this guy. Now the coolest thing about this is this actually is going to record in HD as well as provide you with your FPV camera to fly it around. So as you're flying around, it actually will record to the micro SD card slot here on the craft, right here in the back. There's your micro SD card slot. And this is awesome technology. So we're actually getting in a day and age where these smaller size whoops can actually record in HD, all thanks to the Caddx Turtle camera that is utilizing. So very nice presentation, looks nice and sturdy. As you see, this is the trash can frame, so it has a reinforced. You see here in the back, that's where the little LED strip went. This is the FR Sky version as well. So we're going to be showing you how to bind up to your FR Sky radio, get everything set up in Betaflight, and we're going to take this guy out for a flight and do a nice flight test. Let's go ahead and compare this versus the original Mobula 7. So you can see the original Mobula 7 here on the left. Love this quad, it's very nice, flies great. You can see it's definitely taller. So if you look at it like this, you can see that it's quite a bit taller, and that's because she's got that nice tall mount in the bottom for that 3S battery. But as far as the width, just about the same actually. The body itself has a little bit more girth to it, as you can see, but definitely around the same size. Quite a bit heavier, obviously, than the original Mobula 7, but you're able to record in HD with this guy. Now, what I really think that these style whoops are going to be really good for is definitely some commercial applications, whether it be real estate, I think it's really cool that we're able to get a nice, safe quadcopter like this that can fly, in the house, get some HD video, without running the risk of damaging or hurting people. Flying a 5-inch quad in the house would definitely be way more dangerous. So it's exciting where the technology is going. This is probably going to sacrifice some of the performance that we get with the Mobula 7 just because of the extra additional weight. But we are gaining high-def recording, so you have to pick your poison. So let's go ahead and charge everything up, and we'll go ahead and get it bound to the radio, and I'll show you how we do that. So there's 2 ways to put this Mobula 7 HD into binding mode. There is actually a bind button that you can push and hold down here on the bottom. You'll see a little white button down there. You can plug in the battery, push down on that button for about 2 seconds. Then you will see the red and white LEDs turn to solid, and that will indicate that it is in binding mode. There's another way you can do it if you don't have the battery handy or you don't have the battery charged. You can actually hook this guy up to Betaflight through the micro USB port, and I'll show you. That's the way I'm going to be doing it, and I'll go ahead and show you how. Obviously, I already have several models in my radio, so I'm going to be doing the easy way and just copying a model and changing the name to the Mobula 7 HD. If you need information on how to set up a brand new model, I'm going to put a link up in the right-hand corner here to another video you can watch to kind of guide you through setting up your radio for the first time. But this is going to be strictly a copy job here. So go ahead and turn the radio on.
Angle mode.
And I'm going to go down here to the Mobula 7, push and hold. I'm going to copy model down here to the 7, and just copy the model over like that. Name, really the only thing I'm going to change, I'm going to add HD to it if it'll let me. Let's see. So now this is all ready, set up, and ready to be bound. You're going to take your micro USB cable hooked to your Betaflight. You're going to plug in to the bottom, the micro USB port down here on the bottom. You'll see the lights come on and they start flashing. We need to come over here to the configuration tab and set up our receiver. We're going to change this to FR-Sky X because we are running the 16 channel on my radio. If you're running 8 channel, you're going to put this to FR-Sky D. And we want it to say SPI RX support. Go ahead and click Save and Reboot. And as you can see, this Mobula 7 HD is running the Betaflight 4.0 firmware. So the newest firmware, good thing to see there. They've already set up our gyro and PID loop frequencies. They have the craft name already set up. They have the arming angle set up to 180 degrees, which means that the quadcopter will arm no matter what orientation it is. So that's good if you get stuck in trees or upside down. The motor idle throttle value is set to 4.5. I don't know why motor stop is enabled. We definitely want the motors to spin when armed. I'm going to turn that off. Yeah, we want the motors to spin when armed. We're running D-Shot 600. And let's see. We have the LED strip on, we have OSD on, anti-gravity is turned on, dynamic filters turned on. We're going to fly this out of the box. I'm not really going to mess with any of the settings. I just want to give you an out-of-the-box experience. And everything's turned on for the beeper. Alright, now let's go down here. Let's go ahead and click Save and Reboot. Come down here to the CLI tab. Type in bind here in the CLI. And you can see the lights are flashing now, indicating that it is properly bound. So once you have that done, go ahead and turn bind off on your transmitter. And then you can go ahead and type in save in the CLI. We'll go ahead and reboot.
Telemetry lost. Telemetry recovered.
And you can see it's already talking to the transmitter. So it's that easy if you already have it set up on your radio. And then you don't need a battery or anything to go ahead and bind it. using the Betaflight and typing bind in the CLI tab. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the failsafe, see how that's set. We are set to drop out of the sky. So that's good. Let's go to our PID tuning tab, take a look at the stock PIDs. There's all your stock PIDs, and you can see the rates there. We're going to leave everything stock for this flight. A little bit of throttle mid. So you can see everything, how it's set up out of the box. Let's go to the receiver tab and see if we have anything. Okay, so the throttle is working correctly. Let's look at the yaw. Yaw is working correctly. Look at our pitch. Everything's working correctly there. Roll. That's good. Now we can go ahead and set up our modes. And this is where I encountered the first problem, guys. You'll see here in the modes tab, you see the box for arm, but there's nothing else. I went back and forth, trying to figure out why it would not show up. I disconnected and reconnected several times, but no luck. I was not able to set up the modes with the current firmware that was on the Mobula 7 HD. So what I ended up doing was I reflashed the firmware to the newest version of Betaflight, and then I was able to get all my modes and everything reset up. So if you're having this issue, try flashing either new firmware or maybe flashing back to the old firmware and see if that fixes it for you. But this was the first problem that I encountered. Now we can go down to the modes tab and go ahead and add our arming switch. And I'm going to put a video up in the corner to teach you how to set up these switches if you don't know, but go ahead and slide the yellow bar over to where the tick is, depending on where you want your switch. And we're going to add angle mode as well. And it should be in angle mode now, and it is.
Angle mode.
Okay, so that's angle mode there. I'm going to add horizon as well. There's horizon. And then acro is there.
Angle mode.
Our turtle mode right here.
Oops.
Now click save. Mobula 7 HD came to me, and out of the box, it is not set to auto record. So every time you want to record with the HD camera, you have to actually push this button that's back in here on the board itself. So a little bit annoying about that. The good news is, however, they did give us the OSD menu board, and what we can do is they actually have inside here, tucked in here, they have so here it is right here on the side, this green and black plug. So if you just pull that out, this will actually plug into your little OSD board, so you can change the camera settings. I really wish that they would set this to auto record out of the box. So then all you have to do is just plug in your little OSD board here with this little two-prong connector, and then you can change the settings of the Caddx Turtle to set it up to auto record. So anytime you plug in power, it will just go ahead and start recording. Okay, taking a look at the OSD of the Caddx Turtle, you'll see we have a wide variety of settings. If you go into the video section, you'll find auto recording. You can go ahead and turn that on, and also the wide dynamic range, and you can also change your video resolution. So anytime you plug in the power, battery power, it will now auto record. You won't have to push that button each time. Also, if you unplug power, it will automatically save the file. And here you can see we have some other interesting features. You can flip the screen, you can change your field of view, you can change your frequency, you can also change the picture itself with a wide variety of options here. And you can also change the aspect ratio from 16.9 to 4:3. I'm going to be leaving it in 16:9 just because I like the way 16:9 looks as far as recording. And there we go. We got the Mobula 7 all set up, ready for flight. And now we're ready to go outside and do a line of sight flight and an FPV flight. Here we go. All right, we're going to take the Mobula 7 HD for a quick line of sight flight first. Go ahead and see what we got. Okay, we have liftoff. Definitely seems to be holding its own as far as throttle. Get a little punch for you. Feels pretty good, actually. Feels like it's got some weight to it, but it's still kind of punchy. Not bad, actually. Mobula 7 HD. Let's do some flips. Okay, not bad. Recovered pretty good. Some nice flips there. Actually seems like it's got quite a bit of poke. More than I was expecting. This is the Betaflight, the newest version of firmware, Betaflight 4.0.2 for the Crazy Bee F4. Definitely seems it got a lot of poke. So I'd say right off the bat, the line of sight flight has been going very well. Very well. Go ahead and put the goggles on and we'll do a little FPV flight. Alright, here we are on board the Mobula 7 HD. First thing I noticed about the HD footage is it's a little bit washed out. I'm sure it's something you could play with in post. I do like the field of view that you get from the Caddx turtle camera. The audio is really low as well. Something else I noticed about the Caddx turtle camera. But I'm going to go ahead and let you watch this flight. I did have a couple crashes, and then we'll get into what happened in the end.
Down to the ground, you're dragging me. It's constantly. No, I won't make a sound. I love the pain. It sets me free. It's wrong, I can't think right. I love the bird below you, tell myself that this is the last time. It's wrong, I can't make right. Slipping off in the moonlight when I knew the truth. I had myself for you. On the ground, I know the truth. I know the truth. You say those things, then shut me out. Got no clue what you have found. I'm a rose in thorns, but you cut me down. It's wrong, I can't think right. I love the bird below you, tell myself that this is the last time.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that flight. I started getting some static running 25 milliwatts, so I went ahead to go ahead and land to change over to the 200 milliwatts, and that's when things went from bad to worse. So you'll see I land, and you can see I tried to take off again, and it flips over upside down, and come to find out, this is what happened. Let me go ahead and show you what's going on with this little guy. So evidently we have a failed ESC. So I went ahead and swapped these two motors on the board here because this was the initial one that started giving me the problem. So I switched these two motors. Watch what happens when I hook it up to the motors tab Betaflight. So go ahead and plug in our power here. Okay, so this will be motor 4. But now motor 4 is actually on motor 3. So let's go to motor 4. You can see this is actually motor 3 now. But I'm on motor 4 because I swapped the motors. So no problem with that one whatsoever. Now watch when I go to, or actually motor 3. Watch what happens. See that? Now it just rebooted itself. It barely turns over. If I swap these two motor wires again, watch what happens. This is where they were originally. So that leads me to believe that the board itself, there's something wrong with the board and that ESC. Okay, now I have it plugged in the right way. Now watch what happens. Motor 4, no problems. Motor 3, and it just reset again. So I give it throttle, it barely twitches, and then it resets itself. Well, let me get into some of the things that I liked about the Mobula 7 HD and some of the things that I didn't. Obviously, I didn't like the fact that the ESC failed on the board. I did not like the fact that it came from the factory with the auto record set to off. And you have to hook up this board. While it wasn't hard for me to do this, I feel like someone new to the hobby, someone just getting in, may have a difficult time trying to figure all this out to get it set up to auto record. Just feel like that should be default set to auto record. It just makes things a lot easier, a lot simpler. Another thing I didn't like is how tight this battery actually fits in here. I mean, you really have to get it in there, and I feel like I'm going to break this plastic just trying to shove it in there. It's actually getting weak. You see right there in the plastic from me trying to shove this in there because it's so tight. So that's definitely a concern. Over and over putting the battery in and out, I'm afraid that it's going to end up breaking. So that I don't like. Now let me go over to the things that I do like. So I love the technology. I love the fact that this includes a micro HD recording capable camera. I feel like that is awesome. It is a step in the right direction. I like the form factor. I like the way it looks. I definitely like the way it flew when it was flying. It seemed to, handle the coming out of the big dives and the big split S's just fine. A little bit of wobble, but you're going to have that with these ducks. But all in all, I really love the way it flew. Let me go into some other things that I like. I like that the cable is easy to get to plug in the camera control. So it's right here in the side. You just pull it out. I like the fact that the button to go ahead and get the Mobula 7 to record. It is very easy to get to. It's right there on the side. I love that the camera is adjustable, so that is a nice feature as well. I like the way they did the VTX antenna straight out the back versus straight up or at an angle. I feel like that's going to get less wear and tear. Those are the things that I like about it. You know, it's a shame that the one I got it failed. It's a shame. It really is a shame, because I was really rooting for this guy. I was really hoping it was going to just blow my mind. And it really was starting to blow my mind until, you know, the ESC failure. And I'm really disappointed that, you know, the ESC failed. You know, because now, you know, you've got to take it all apart and put a new board in it, and that's not, you know, necessarily an easy task. So it's definitely definitely annoying, and definitely not something that, you know, someone just getting this brand new is going to want to have to do. Luckily for me, this was sent to me courtesy of Banggood, so I actually didn't pay for it. But if I did, I would be very frustrated. I would be calling Banggood and, you know, their customer support and letting them know that, you know, I've got an ESC failure on the second battery pack, which is definitely not a good thing. Drop what you think down in the comments below. Like I said, I swapped the motor wires on the board, and the same exact ESC did the same thing. So I know it's not the actual motor itself. The motor is fine. When I hooked the motor up to a different ESC, it spun just perfectly. So that leads me to believe it's something to do with the board, something to do with that ESC. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I would say more Mobula 7 HD videos to come, but this guy's probably going to be grounded for a little while until I can get it repaired. Until next time, guys, edrone out.